Amidst the Hindi imposition debate, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has once again batted for local languages, calling them central to India's cultural diversity. While speaking on the national education policy, he said it was important to come out of a slave mentality when it comes to English. The Prime Minister said the policy is aimed at boosting local languages to overcome barriers which tend to hinder opportunities for young talent. However, southern parties have repeatedly accused the BJP of Hindi hegemony and imposition, calling any promotion of Hindi as an affront to their culture. This has been a central theme of their politics for decades, jumping at every opportunity to make that point. More recently, the Chief Ministers of Kerala and Tamil Nadu have objected to the recommendation by a parliamentary panel to make Hindi the medium of instruction in central educational institutions in Hindi-speaking states. Southern leaders are also up in arms over the launch of a Hindi MBBS course in Madhya Pradesh, also a Hindi-speaking state.
नई राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति गुलामी की मानसिकता से देश को बाहर निकालकर टैलेंट को, इनोवेशन को निखारने का प्रयास है। देश में ऐसा कोई नहीं होना चाहिए जो किसी भी कारण से छूट जाए।
If the message is India for Indian languages, then why this repeated alarm? Is this some kind of politics purely keeping in mind the domestic constituencies? Remember, a number of leaders have been doing so. On October 15th, DMK leader Udayanidhi Stalin said Tamil Nadu will never accept imposition of Hindi, adding that the DMK came to power by opposing imposition of Hindi. That has been the nature of politics of the Dravidian parties. On October 13th, he said there is a government recommendation to hold competitive exams in Hindi, calling it a ploy or a larger plot to deny employment to non-Hindi speakers. It did not stop only in Tamil Nadu. Shifting focus now to Karnataka. On September 12th, H.D. Kumaraswamy said Hindi Divas was being forcibly celebrated in Karnataka, calling it an insult to Kannadigas. On June 6th, DMK's Elangovan said Hindi turns people into Shudras, saying it has no place in Tamil Nadu. May 13th, Tamil Nadu minister insulted Hindi speakers, saying that Hindi speakers learning the language makes you only fit to sell pani puri. April 10th, the Chief Minister, DMK Chief, M.K. Stalin said Hindi imposition will wreck the nation's integrity. And Telangana Minister K.T. Ramarao said BJP's language chauvinism will only boomerang. So is this politics for the sake of politics by southern parties in an attempt to dub the BJP as outsiders? Let me bring in the guests at this hour. Professor Kapil Kumar is a historian. We have Professor Badri Narayan, historian, author. Dr. C.B. Sharma is an educationist. Shashi Kumar is Secretary, Karnataka Private School Association. I'm going to begin with you, Professor Kapil Kumar. Here is the Prime Minister who says that all Indian languages are the soul of Bharatiyata and hence they are worthy of reverence. Isn't that a message of inclusivity rather than the point of view or the prism with which it is being viewed right now?
You see, the problem is that people only want to do politics. They don't want to learn anything from history. They don't want to look at other countries. And all kinds of unnecessary objections are raised that you can't do medicine without English, you can't do engineering without English. Let me ask these people, but before saying that, let me be very clear. I don't want that any language should be imposed, whether Hindi or Tamil or any. But let me ask them a question. Have they read Japanese history? Did Japan ever went for English? And it became a power in the world? Have they read German history? What is the medium of instruction in Germany? All Germanic scientific development, in which language they teach it? Have they learned Russian? Did Russia learn English to become a power with all engineering, science and technology? Did China learn English to become that in that country? So all this thing, you see, people have their own ways of communication. And let me ask a question here, that before English came to India, what was the link language of India? From right Kashmir up to down south Kerala. The saffron was coming to Kerala. The coconut was going to Kashmir. There was trade, flourishing economy, science, Indian ancient universities. Everything was there. What was the link language? People find their own ways to link language. People find their own ways to do that.
Yes.
And world over it is established.
Yes.
That think in your mother tongue.
Yes.
I speak in English, but I think my medium was Hindi till MA.
The idea here is, Professor Badri Narayan, that language to connect India with Indians should be a language of India. A language which is spoken by Indians. And it is essentially celebrating diversity is what the Prime Minister is talking about in the context of national education policy. Then why should there be criticism and this be seen as imposition? This is not imposition.
Yeah, you are very right. It's actually what Prime Minister is saying, and about the language. It's a agenda of decolonizing India, and the process of decolonizing India is in fact decolonizing mind. And for decolonizing mind, language is very important ingredient. Through that, you can detoxicate yourself. All the kind of negative influences which we have engaged, we have imbibed in our identity, that will be removed because of the whole language. And when PM is saying, he is not saying about only Hindi language, he is saying Indian languages. Indian languages is the Bharatiya Bhasha and the variety of languages, diversity of the languages about which we are talking. And NEP give importance to all the Indian languages in its pedagogy. So this is only the language politics of the few states of the South who used to do since 50 years.
So it is largely a convenient politics which is being played at the cost of India's cultural and linguistic diversity, which is certainly India's national pride. And here is not some kind of push or primacy that is being given to Hindi language at the cost of other regional languages, Dr. C.B. Sharma. And if I look at how the Prime Minister has consistently spoken about other languages, look at what he said on February 28th. He said, one of my shortcomings was that I could not make much effort to learn Tamil, the oldest language in the world. I could not make myself learn Tamil. Then he went on to say, February 9th, when I spoke in Tamil in the US and about the heritage of the Tamil language, it was received well and is now reverberating across the US. So how is this push for any language? This is about celebrating cultural diversity of India.
Very true. I think the politicians from down south are making politics out of it. Who is making this a statement about Hindi or Indian languages? A Gujarati who is not a native speaker of Hindi is pleading for Hindi. Is he doing the right politics? The Gujarati is going for elections. Is it politically correct or incorrect? We should look at this statement of the Prime Minister in the light of politics of language. I believe the politics of Tamil Nadu, the politics of Karnataka has survived on language issue, and they fool people. Let me make a statement on this very prestigious channel. I am aware children of the leading politicians of down south are studying in Hindi medium schools. The politicians themselves have gone to Hindi medium school. I am a linguist and I have worked on language and politics, and I can tell you for sure. Now, never has the Prime Minister said, and the National Education Policy 2020 ever says that Hindi will get supremacy above any other language. We are working on 40 Indian languages for developing primers for lower primary, that is foundation stage. And we are going to provide lower primary in Santali, Mundari, Khadiya, Ho, all these languages. When it is said that Hindi should be the link language, how many words has Tamil borrowed from Sanskrit? How many words has Kannada borrowed from Sanskrit? How many words has Malayalam copied or borrowed from Sanskrit? These languages are all daughters of Sanskrit. I believe we should be progressive in taking a stand on language. But what I believe is that the politics of Tamil Nadu survives on language issue, and they fool people by making such statements. I would again repeat, Narendra Modi ji is not a Hindi speaker, a native speaker of Hindi, but he understands the importance of a lingua franca for a nation, and that is why the Prime Minister is pleading for one language as lingua franca, but then promoting all Indian languages.
Yes, all Indian languages. Yes, so the focus certainly here is the only way of phasing out English is to prepare Indian languages for the difficult task of teaching and learning in higher education is what is being highlighted by Dr. C.B. Sharma. Shashi Kumar, is this just pure politics that is at play in most of these states now?
On both the side, it is purely politics. There is nothing otherwise, because whether the Prime Minister of India is saying that Hindi should be, or any others who are debating, I want to just throw some lights on this.
No, he did not
the
ban for Hindi.
bench of
the Prime Minister has not banned it for Hindi. In fact, he has said that he has spoken about the cultural richness of various languages of India. This is about languages of India in general, not about promoting Hindi at the cost of other languages.
I understand that.
Yes.
I understand that. But via media, by and large, Hindi is tried to push. But my only submission is, please treat it as individual subject. If any state, because all states are under concurrent list, if those states want to do away with any regional language, let it be as a subject. But when you are trying to impose something as a medium of instruction, it is not right, because it is a contempt of honorable Supreme Court.
No. I'm just trying to correct you here. There's no imposition per se. Dr. C.P. Sharma, what exactly is happening here? The national education policy is not talking about one language over at the cost of others.
No, never. See, the third chapter of the national education policy clearly says that all children will be brought to school at the age of 3 and their own mother tongues, including tribal languages, the lesser known languages, the threatened languages will be promoted as medium of instruction for this age group, because we have you have 4 crore children out of school because of imposition of English. We send children to school and they are introduced into English language, or they are given instruction in English or a major language, and that is why they have dropped. We worked on the out of school children when we were starting to work on the national education policy. The major reason for a dropout was that they were not taught in the mother tongue. So all mother tongues, 150 languages have been identified in which
Please
the
understand, if you talk about mother tongue, it is an entire different context.
Lower primary, the foundation education in mother tongues.
Okay.
Where is Hindi imposed?
Where is Hindi imposed?
Only come as a subject or a language at the age of class 3, that is 8 years.
Shashi Kumar, where is the imposition of Hindi here?
No imposition.
No, I would again submit my version that any language, by default you say that medium of instruction, it is against the constitutional bench judgment. My submission is very clear, whether it is Hindi or any regional language, you are not supposed to impose. It should be a choice of the parents. Then government, any appropriate government, can't impose any regional language or in the name of mother
No.
tongue.
Here, in fact, the push is for multilingual classrooms. Professor Kapil Kumar, well, that is being done right now through the National Education Policy. Professor Kapil Kumar, the challenges for a multilingual classroom. How do you ensure that?
See, this is what always it has been said. Even in Karnataka, it was a
I'll tell you, CB will bear me out that when we started our programs in IGNOU, we started in Hindi and English, and then whichever state wanted, the Bengal Open University translated them in Bengali, the Gujarat Open University translated them in Gujarati, the Andhra Open University took programs from us, translated them in Telugu, Odisha Open University took them from us, translated it in Odia. So what was the problem? This was happening at higher education level. And let me tell you one more thing. The problem here is the language thing. Two things I like to say. One is, then when they don't find anything else in politics, then two questions always become prominent here, which were promoted by colonialism at that time to divide Dravidian and Aryan theory. They will bring it then, that aspect, or will bring the language aspect. Tell me one thing, why there was no problem of language in Azad Hind Fauj and Azad Hind Sarkar? 50% of the Ranis in Rani Jhansi regiment were Tamil Kuli women. Out of the Tamil Kulis, a full battalion of people was raised. And what did he say when they were given the orders there in English to retreat from Imphal? The Tamil soldier answered in Hindi, हम पीछे नहीं जाएगा, नेताजी बोला दिल्ली जाना, दिल्ली आगे, सिंगापुर पीछे, हम दिल्ली जाएगा. What is this nonsense? Instead of uniting this country, we are talking of multi-languages. We are talking of respect for every Indian language. We are talking that in every native mother language tongue, as CB said right now, the things should be taught. My medium was Hindi till MA. You know what I faced in Delhi? When I came to Delhi, people had difficulty in saying hello to me. ये मेरठ गाजियाबाद के लोग ये क्या हिस्ट्री लिखेंगे, नहीं तो अंग्रेजी के दो वर्ड नहीं आते. This was the attitude. It is that mentality which the PM is talking of, that the colonial mentality should be done away with.
It's the same mentality that you're talking about. Most people from Hindi belt faced when they left their home states and came to Delhi, they were treated with the same elitist snob behavior in which they were said that आप अंग्रेजी नहीं जानते, आपको हिंदी बस बोलना आता है.
1 second more, let me say one thing, but my request to the Prime Minister is another request also. You see, no country in the world is constitutionally known by two names. Ceylon changed to Sri Lanka, it became Sri Lanka. Burma changed to Myanmar, it became Myanmar. Please, either decide whether we have to call ourselves Government of India or Government of Bharat. It can't be that in English you write Government of India and in Hindi you write Government of Bharat. Start this decolonizing this mentality from there.
Okay.
As the Prime Minister has done very recently in changing the name of Rajpath because Raj had gone.
Yes.
To Kartavya Path. So please talk first of this thing at the national level in terms of naming our country. You name it Bharat Sarkar or you name it Government of India. These both things cannot continue. And I tell you, this whole thing which comes up when they don't have anything to oppose, they will bring up this language question, then they will keep quiet, then suddenly when they have to do politics, they will bring up other stuff.
Okay, just for the benefit of our viewers, let me tell you that the Prime Minister has always been consistent with his message on language diversity. On February 28th, 2021, he said, I regret not being able to learn Tamil, adding that Tamil is a beautiful language and the oldest in the world. On February 9th, this year, he said, heritage of Tamil language known around the globe, calling it a rich, diverse language central to Indian culture. On May 20th, he said, BJP sees Indian culture in every regional language, adding that every regional language is linked to India's future. On May 26th, the Prime Minister said Tamil language is eternal and Tamil culture is global. On August 15th, the Prime Minister's message was, we need to be proud of every Indian language, adding that talent should not be restricted by language barriers. And very recently, his words were, we need to shed the slave mentality surrounding English, adding that the national education policy empowers local languages so that no one is left behind. The idea is nobody should be left behind, Professor Badri Narayan, rather than imposition of one language on the other.
Yeah, I think the imposition will not good for development of the country, any kind of imposition. But you know what PM is saying, already you have shown the reports and you told about the reports. The PM is trying to give importance to all the regional languages, all the Indian languages in making of Bharat or in making of India. The regional languages help us, or Indian languages will help us to increase our confidence, social confidence.
Yes.
Increase our confidence to grow, to develop, to become a global citizen, to become any not speaking English. English speaking is good. No one is opposing it. And one should speak English, but one should not undermine regional languages, Indian languages, and also this Tamil, Kannada. These languages are very important in the schemes of new education policy. So no one is going to create to undermine these languages or creating a linguistic insecurity. This linguistic insecurity is inculcated by the politician for certain political ends, political goal, and I think that is not good for India. And to creating Indian atmosphere or atmosphere, a kind of summerous atmosphere in India, the atmosphere of equality and inclusion.
Okay.
I think we should expect each other. We should respect each other.
Absolutely. Respect the diversity which comes with language that you speak. I have just enough time for Dr. C.B. Sharma, but before that, 30 seconds to you, Shashi Kumar. Will this unnecessary fight end?
Hopefully, we can't say, because how the government starts implementing it, it depends all on that. But the submission is, we have no dispute with any language being promoted, regional language, but it should be as a subject, not as a medium of instruction. Because when it is talking about the medium of instruction, it will have a huge impact, because it is contradicting the Honorable Supreme Court's 11th bench judgment, which is the land of.
I believe the national education policy is very clear. All Indian languages are equal. Let me make a few statements. Less than 5% people of this country know and speak English and work in English. It is an elitist language and which must go. When the Congress in 1925 reacted against the British government, and they said we will not write our minutes in English, which was the language chosen? It was Hindi. And who proposed it? It was C. Rajgopalachari from Chennai. And where was the Hindi Pracharni Sabha established first? In Chennai. Look, I believe when we think in the larger interest of the nation, Hindi as the link language and all Indian languages, including tribal languages, I will again repeat, must be promoted. They have great repository of knowledge in them. And that is what the national education policy also pleads. Let us not, please, for God's sake, for the nation's sake, do language politics, because it destroys the schooling. And I'm worried. I will again quote the Upendra Kushwaha committee, of which I was a member. When we were working on out of school children, most children drop out because they are taught in a major language of the region. Like the Tamil children in Tamil Nadu all don't speak Tamil. I'm from Bihar. I'm not a native speaker of Hindi. I'm a Maghi speaker. So all Indian languages are equal and they must be promoted. Hindi as the link language and this has
Professor
been
Kapil
said
Kumar,
by
let's
all.
end it on a note of Hindi, please. चलिए आपको
Well,
जिस लैंग्वेज में आपको बोलना है उस पे बोल करके एंड करते हैं इस डिस्कशन को.
नहीं, मैं एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ सिर्फ सबसे.
मगी में बोलिएगा, मगी में बोल दीजिए पहले सीबी शर्मा.
मैं एक सवाल
नहीं,
पूछना
पहले
चाहता
मगी में
हूँ.
सीबी शर्मा बोलेंगे, उसके बाद आप बोलिएगा प्रोफेसर कपिल कुमार. चलिए
अच्छा, पहले सीबी बोले.
हाँ चलिए
बहुत
जल्दी.
आप अपने के बहुत आभार के हमरा बोले दिलखिन. हमार भाषा से कोई हिंदी नहीं है. हम
चलिए प्रोफेसर कपिल कुमार, चलिए
हिंदी अंग्रेजी दोनों भाषा में बोले ही.
Well, let me put it this way: if you talk,
बढ़ावा देल जाए.
if you talk of mother tongue, my mother was Punjabi, so let me say it in Punjabi.
चलिए बोलिए.
है कि देखो जी, ये बड़ी चंगी गल हैगी है कि मन्नो मेरी पंजाबी दे विच भी लिखी हुई किताबां पढ़न नूं मिलणगियां. एक गल ध्यान रखो, अशोका दे जमाने च हिंदुस्तान दा जिहड़ा राज हैगा सी वो अफगानिस्तान तो लैके थल्ले साउथ तक हैगा सी. और अशोक दे मौर्य दे काल दे विच 21 भाषा हैगी सी खरोष्टी, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਫਗਾਨਿਸਤਾਨ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੇ ਥੱਲੇ केरला तक हैगी सी. ਇਹ ਕਿਉਂ ਭੁੱਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਲੋਕੀ?
Professor Kapil Kumar, Dr. C.B. Sharma, Badri Narayan and Shashi Kumar, thank you so much for your time. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.